So we're here at Budleigh Salterton and we're talking to Sam Bridgewater, the Head of Wildlife and Conservation at Clinton Devon Estates, about the Lower Otter Restoration Project. So Sam, hi, we're here on the River Otter at Budleigh Salterton. Can you tell me a bit about what's going on here? Is it right to think we're going back in time?
Yes, we hope so. So, this is a lovely valley, and a project that we're hoping to progress is the Lower Otter Restoration Project, which is about trying to adapt the valley to climate change. So, it's a beautiful valley, but it's not natural, and there's lots and lots of modifications that have been done over the centuries. And the river is now canalised. There's a large embankment that was done 200 years ago, and that means that the river can't breathe as it once did. And there's all sorts of other infrastructure there. There's an old tip in the middle of the floodplain, which is not an ideal location. There's a cricket club. And with sea level rise and more stormy events, things are starting to kind of fail, and the embankment will breach, and it almost catastrophically breached a year ago. So what we're trying to do with this project is to accept that reality of climate change and adapt the valley by preemptively breaching the embankment, letting the tide in as it once did 200 years ago, and creating lots of intertidal habitat.
So Sam, that's great. So how long has it taken to get to where you are now, and who's involved, and where's all the funding coming from?
It's been a long journey, so probably about 10 years to get to this point. I've been informed that actually a lot of projects like this take significantly longer. Yeah. So back in 2008 or so, the Clinton Devon Estates commissioned a report to look at the Lower Otter Valley and look at the sort of hydrology and some of the flooding issues that we were facing.
I remember that.
On the basis of that, one of the proposals was well, why don't you think about reconnecting the river to its floodplain and doing what we call a managed realignment. We then had a meeting I joined the estate in 2012 in the autumn, and that winter we had a meeting with lots of different parties, including the National Trust and others, who all said, yeah, that's what you really should be thinking about doing. From that point, we did lots of consultation events, and to find out, I guess, is it technically speaking, can we do it? Environmentally, are we going to get a benefit if we do it? Socially, is it acceptable? And obviously, you've got to find the funding for it as well. So if you put all that together, and we are proposing some fairly major landscape scale change. We're going from a pastoral landscape, one of it's green and hedgerows and trees, to one that is intertidal in nature. And this valley is much loved, much visited. This footpath above us is one of the busiest in Devon. And of course, people have very strong views, and you want to try and bring society along with you if you can. And so that's what's taken us so long. And then of course you've got to go through the hoops of planning and so on.
And the funding, where have you got the funding from? Because it's a significant amount of money.
It's a significant amount of money. So some of the funding has come from the estate, and one of the reasons why we can do this project where maybe they failed elsewhere is there's a single landowner, so some of these decisions are easier. And when you need to, if you have farming enterprises and tenancies, you can compensate with additional land. Some money is coming from the Environment Agency, so they're our key partner, and they're the leading actually on this scheme, because this is something that they do, and it's not really, the estate hasn't done a sort of scheme like this before. And they're interested in this site because of flood defence works they're doing elsewhere. So they have a statutory obligation to protect homes, and there's a lot of works that have been done in Exmouth and Dawlish on the Exe, which is a European site, and through those works, it will reduce some habitat there, and they've got to provide compensatory habitat. They tried to do that other places, but it wasn't possible, but they can do that on the Otter. So that's their interest, so they're a funder. And the last funder is European money. So we are funded through Interreg, the France Channel England scheme, and it's a project called Promoting Adaptation to Changing Coasts. And we've teamed up with another valley, south of Dieppe in Normandy, called the Sand Valley, which is almost uncannily like the River Otter.
Right.
They have a road going across as we do, but theirs is at the mouth, whilst ours is a kilometre upstream. They don't have a municipal dump in the middle of the floodplain. They have a sewage works. They don't have a cricket club. The French aren't renowned for their cricket, but they do have a campsite. And so we're facing similar issues, and we believe there's 70 estuaries, either on the north coast of France or the south coast of England, that would benefit from an intervention. And the whole purpose of the European funding is to kind of put together all our lessons and create a model so that those who come after us have a sort of ready-made guide about how to do this, and maybe have an easier time than we've had.
There's obviously a vision for the project.
Yeah.
And you've talked a lot about how that process will operate, who will be involved. But what's the, people who are watching can't see the vision, if you like, just by seeing what we've got here. What's the vision? What's the legacy long term? Do you think? What are you hoping to see in 30 years' time in this environment?
When we finish this project, I hope it will be a massive legacy for East Devon, really kind of upping the environmental offer. So we don't have much intertidal habitat. A lot of our floodplains and valleys have been drained. So this is kind of going back and creating over 50 hectares of mudflat and salt marsh. These habitats, as you know, are very, very important for wildlife. So once we do the scheme, it will probably take about 5 years for it to develop and everything to reach a new equilibrium. But then we'll be expecting lots of different kind of waders to come in. So you're talking Brent geese or black-tailed godwit and so on. So it should be a fabulous site for wildlife. It will be different, but it will be the more natural habitat for this area. We expect that to bring in more people, possibly in the shoulder months, doing sort of the bird watching. The river will be connected to its floodplain. We expect a lot of the community infrastructure that's currently threatened by climate change to have a future. So the cricket club will have a future at a site that won't flood. The road that is threatened by being becoming tidal will be raised and won't be flooded. Likewise, the tip that's currently an environmental liability will be protected. And I hope that if you connect all the dots around East Devon on the coastline, you've got Axe wetlands that are absolutely fantastic. It looks nice here, and it is nice, but it could be so much better. It could be so much bigger. Have this site and add that to the X. We've got some really amazing nature here, and I hope hopefully we can add to the I guess East Devon's natural offer.
Yeah, making it greener.
Making it greener.
Yeah, and you have to ask the question because it's on this river, and it's going to be the next part of the field trip. Have beavers got anything to play with it?
Beavers, well, the estates have been a big fan and big part of the beaver trial. In terms of this scheme, will it make it any better for them? Not really. I mean, they can swim in seawater. They tend not to want to. So there's masses and masses of beaver habitat on the catchment. Many tributaries. 20 plus. I don't know what's the length of the otter.
The otter. Now you're asking. Sorry, I know that.
40 kilometres, say, but there's lots of space for them to go, so they'll just move on. So, of course, in any scheme like this, you do your best to look after the species that are there. So there's lots and lots of kind of protocols. So if there are beavers here, they'll be encouraged to move out. But yeah.
But they won't tend to come down just because of the brackish nature of the water, presumably.
No, not really. No. Yeah. So they're more of a freshwater species, but say they can, they can go out to sea and swim around the coast, but they don't tend to.
Good stuff.